What if I told you that the secret to massive success isn't motivation, willpower, or talent? It's something so small you've probably ignored it your entire life. This book changed how millions of people build habits, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to use it. Welcome back to Great Footprints. This is a summary of Atomic Habits by James Clear, one of the most popular self-improvement books in the world. Clear himself developed these ideas after suffering a severe injury in high school that nearly ended his life, forcing him to rebuild his health and career one small habit at a time. I'm going to break down the core ideas in simple terms, so stick around till the end because the last lesson is the one that ties everything together. The central idea of this book is simple. Small habits, repeated consistently, create massive results over time. The book explains that if you get just 1% better every day, by the end of a year, you're not 1% better. You're 37 times better. The opposite is also true. If you get 1% worse every day, you decline dramatically. This means success isn't about one huge change. It's about tiny, consistent actions compounding over months and years. The book compares habits to compound interest. The effects are barely visible day to day, but massive over time. Think about it like this. A flight from Los Angeles to New York, if the pilot shifts the route by just a few degrees at takeoff, can end up landing in a completely different city. The shift is small, but the destination changes completely. One of the most surprising ideas in the book is that goals are overrated. Everyone who runs a marathon has the same goal, to finish. Everyone in a business has the goal to grow. Goals don't separate winners from losers because almost everyone has the same goals. What actually separates successful people is their systems, the daily processes they follow. The book argues you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. As an example, the book describes how the British cycling team went from being mediocre for decades to dominating the Olympics and the Tour de France, not by setting bigger goals, but by improving 1% in dozens of small areas. Better bike seats, better sleep habits, better hand washing to avoid illness. None of these changes were dramatic on their own, but together, they built a system that produced champions. So instead of focusing only on the outcome, focus on building a system that naturally produces that outcome. This is probably the most powerful concept in the entire book. Most people try to change habits by focusing on what they want to achieve. The book suggests flipping this completely. Focus on who you want to become instead. For example, instead of saying, "I want to read more books," you say, "I am a reader." Instead of "I want to run a marathon," you say, "I am a runner." The book shares a simple story about two people trying to quit smoking. When offered a cigarette, one says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." The other says, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker." The second response reflects a complete identity shift, and that person is far more likely to actually stay smoke-free because they're not fighting temptation. They've simply become someone for whom smoking isn't part of who they are. Every time you complete a small action aligned with that identity, you cast a vote for that version of yourself. Over time, enough votes and your identity actually shifts. And once your identity changes, the habit becomes automatic because it's simply who you are now. The book breaks every habit into 4 stages: cue, craving, response, and reward. A cue triggers your brain to notice a reward is available. This creates a craving, the motivation to act. Then comes the response, the actual habit you perform. And finally, the reward, which satisfies the craving and teaches your brain to remember this loop for next time. Understanding this loop is powerful because if you want to build a good habit, you make the cue obvious, the craving attractive, the response easy, and the reward satisfying. If you want to break a bad habit, you do the opposite. Make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. The book gives a simple but effective strategy called habit stacking. You attach a new habit to an existing one. For example, after I pour my morning coffee, I will write down 3 things I'm grateful for. Another strategy is changing your environment. The book describes an experiment in a hospital where nurses increased water consumption among patients simply by placing water bottles within arm's reach instead of across the room. No willpower was needed, just a small environmental shift. If you want to eat healthier, don't rely on willpower. Simply don't keep junk food in the house. If you want to read more, leave a book on your pillow. The environment shapes behavior far more than motivation does. One of the most practical tips in the book is the 2-minute rule. Any new habit should take less than 2 minutes to start. Want to start running? Don't aim for 5 miles, just put on your running shoes. Want to read more? Just read 1 page. The book tells the story of a man who wanted to get in shape, but kept failing until he made his only rule go to the gym for 5 minutes. Most days, once he was there, he ended up working out properly. But even on days he truly only stayed 5 minutes, the habit of showing up stayed intact. The goal isn't to complete the task perfectly, it's to master the habit of showing up. Once showing up becomes automatic, increasing intensity becomes much easier. This is the part of the book that explains why most people quit too early. Habits often appear to make no visible difference for a long time. The book calls this the plateau of latent potential. Imagine an ice cube in a room that's slowly heating up. At 25 degrees, then 26, then 27, nothing seems to happen. Then at 32 degrees, it suddenly melts. All that earlier heat wasn't wasted. It was building toward that one moment. This is similar to how bamboo trees are known to show almost no visible growth above ground for the first 5 years, while building an enormous root system underground. And then in the 5th year, they can grow up to 80 feet in just a few weeks. The book's message is clear. Results lag behind effort. Most people give up right before the breakthrough because they don't see immediate proof their work is paying off. The most important takeaway from this entire book is this. True behavior change is identity change. You might be motivated to pursue a certain result, but you're only going to achieve it if you become the type of person who gets those results. The book closes with a simple but powerful reminder. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. No single instance will transform your beliefs, but as the votes build up, so does the evidence of your new identity. That's the core of atomic habits: small changes, strong systems, and identity-based thinking. Let me know in the comments how you liked this video, and don't forget to subscribe to Great Footprints to learn about many more amazing books like this. See you in the next one.